Well, hello there, and welcome to Beards and Bangers. And today I want to touch and give you some of my thoughts on what is, to some people, a quite controversial subject. So I've got Nelson in the background here. Now, my channel is all about saving MG Rovers. That's really what the essence is. I know I chuck some other stuff in, other reviews of other makes of cars, and I've got the BMW as well, but the essence of my channel, where it all started, was saving MG Rovers. But occasionally a car breaks beyond economic repair, and you have to break it. But some people get really upset by this, and it's not something I do willy-nilly. But I just want to touch on breaking cars. So I bought this Rover Commerce van, a Rover 25 base van, back in May last year, just after the Chiltern Hills Rally actually. And yeah, got the cam belts done. So I paid £600 for this van. Had an MOT, it was driving nicely, not the tidiest thing in the world, but certainly not the worst. Wasn't sure if there's no history at all, but it was bought, you know, what's the word? Sold as seen by a dealer, and I bought it as another dealer. So it was just a trade sale. And yeah, I thought, right, I'm going to get this thing done up, and I'm going to use it as an advert. I got some magnetics made up to cover the van panels, so with the Beards and Bangers logo on. I was going to get some done for the Chiltern Hills Rally and other stuff as well. So like a bit of an advert, park it up somewhere, have it at a show, have it at the, you know, wherever, and treat it as a bit of a kind of advertising vehicle and a practical thing. We did use it once to do a tip run, and it is very handy. So the car languished in the unit for a few months. Started up now and again just to keep the battery topped up, make sure everything's sort of circulating and stuff like that. And then one day I had it started up and it just died. So I'm going to open the bonnet because we need to have a look under there to kind of explain what happened a bit further. Yeah, so there's our L series engine. So the L series engine, obviously I had the cam belt done, which is a bit of a pig of a job on these by AJF. Not the cheapest job in the world, but I think I've spent probably £750, something in the region of that. New fuel filter, complimentary service. Obviously when you do a cam belt, you change the oil and the filters and all that kind of stuff as well. But the problem with L series engines is they have a sender in the fuel tank, but you've got a high pressure fuel pump up front here, and it's likely packed up because it just stopped running, and we think the injectors are okay. And that means, you know, it's repairable, but to refurbish an L series fuel pump costs £600-700. You could try and find a new one from somewhere, someone breaking, but of course if you're putting a second-hand fuel pump in, could the same thing happen? It's very difficult to find. So £600 spent on the van. Another 700, let's just say £700 on the timing belt, which is fair enough. That's what I'd expect to pay for a job like that. And then, so that's taking us to £1,300, not including the fuel I've put in it to collect the car and the expense of collecting the car. So £1,300. So if I was to spend another £600, say, on getting the fuel pump done up, that's taking us to the best part of £2,000, if we're lucky. Is this van worth £2,000? No, because it needs other stuff doing to it. Look at the body, the lacquer's flaking off. I can just peel lacquer off very easily. The paintwork is flat. Put the new bonnet on, but you know that cost 100. I think that cost around 100 quid. So we are at £2,000 if we get the fuel pump done. The wheels have gone on to the free 25 that Austin and Sam have got. That's not a biggie. Wheels are wheels. But it needs other stuff doing to it. Obviously, the car's being stripped out now, so the seats have gone. They've gone into biomorphic, as I hinted at in a previous video. But you'd have to do the headlining. You'd have to clean everything up. there's so much you'd have to do to the van to get it right, and even doing a lot of it yourself, you're still spending money. So we're getting to in excess of £2,000. What are these worth in good nick? £1,500, £1,600 if you're lucky. That was a year ago. The market, the arse has fallen out of it. Let's be brutally honest. There's very little money for older second-hand cars at the moment, unless you've got a very pristine example of say a monogram or a top of the range like a ZR160. Rover 25s, they're not the easiest cars to sell. We have to be really brutally honest about that. Unless you've got a GTI, the 25 unfortunately is sort of the least desirable, maybe other than the City Rover, of the sort of later MG Rover products. So I had to take a tough decision, and it was difficult because I really don't like braking vehicles, but sometimes you have to weigh up the economics. So you'd spend over £2,000 in total getting it right, and then you wouldn't get that money back. Okay, I could keep it as a long-term vehicle and not worry about getting my money back, but I've got to be realistic. I'm not someone this isn't my only classic car or second car. I've got Poseidon, I've got the ZS, and that's another story. I'll come on to the ZS in another video another day. I've got the biomorphic, I've got the BRM. You'll see in a video in the next couple of weeks, hopefully. The BRM's now ready to get MOT'd, almost ready to get MOT'd. So I've got to invest in that. Poseidon is pretty much done. I've got to get the car MOT'd and get it serviced in the next couple of weeks. Am I invested in this? Would I be as invested in this car as something else? No. I've got to think which cars am I keeping long term. So long term, it's the BRM, it's Poseidon. I'm 99% I'm going to keep that long term. Biomorphic needs work doing to it. The BRM definitely needs work doing to it. I've obviously got the Beamer, which is my daily. Okay, it's not part of my classic MG Rover fleet, but it's a car that I still have to spend money on. You can't, cars need money and time spending on them to keep them on the road. I've got the Kestrel, at the back of the unit there. There's the ZS back in the unit for now. So there's the Kestrel, so that's going to need some work on it. A lot of it, because it's an older car, it can be a bit cheaper doing that one, because you can do a lot more. I can certainly do a lot more myself on it. But it is purely, braking a car is purely down to Bangonomics. If I was more invested in vans, I'd be going, right, actually, no, I'm going to keep this all good and spend the money on it, keep it long term. But I'm realistic. For me, it's not a long-term vehicle. If someone was an enthusiast, I think I listed it as a parts car. A car being broken a few months ago, and some of the comments are like, "Oh, they obviously don't understand how to fix it. It's just a fuel pump." But it's not just a fuel pump. It's not a petrol ZR or a petrol 25 where the fuel pumps are a lot cheaper. The L series fuel pumps. This is one of the frailties with the L series engine. If that fuel pump goes, it's nigh on impossible to get the car back on the road economically. So you'd have to make a tough decision. So I'm not doing it out of spite or to make cash. Yes, I'm trying to get some money back, but I'm doing it because it's just not financially viable. It's not financially prudent to get the car back on the road. If it was there's no monogram vans, but if it was a rare express van, say, with a 160 engine, yeah, you'd consider it, but you wouldn't have the problem with the fuel pump. So it's never nice braking cars, but sometimes you have to. Okay, it's another modern classic car, classic vehicle off the road, but there's parts here that can make another Rover or MG better, keep another car on the road. Sometimes you have to kill one car to save another. This fuel tank was dropped last week. It's in good order. If someone they do corrode. They do corrode badly, the fuel tanks. This is really clean. If someone wants a fuel tank for an L series powered 25 ZR van, they can have it, and it keeps that car on the road. The door cards, they're okay. I'm going to actually take the van kit off it, and so you take all the, I'll do this later on, so you take that little mini bulkhead there, obviously missing the very desirable load guard, the kind of the net, the mesh that goes across. But you know, we can sell that. Someone might want to convert a van, or they might want to improve the van they've got. So it's not just about making money, it's about trying to help other cars get back into, you know, back to life. Yeah, don't need the hate. Just people need to appreciate that it is about keeping other cars on the road. The steering wheel's good. It's got a ZR steering wheel, so that's good. I think we'll leave commenting on the gear shifter, but the carpet might be good for someone. You know, some of these parts are hard to get, or they might not be hard to get, but the ones that are left are expensive. The headlining board, okay, it's a really simple thing, but it's something that someone can use. You know, we might use it here. You never know when you might need it. To get this bulkhead out, seat belts, they're good. All these little bits that might help someone else keep a car on the road. So when you break a car, it's not something that happens a lot on my channel, but I did want to kind of respond to some of the comments that I got on Facebook that were kind of a bit keyboard warrior-ish. And you know, this car was for sale as a running vehicle in the summer last year. Someone could have bought it, but what would they say then about breaking it when the fuel pump went on them when they were, you know, using the car? It's just one of those things. They're 20-odd-year-old vehicles. These things happen. So what's your take on breaking cars? Is it a really bad thing? Is it evil? Or is it sometimes a necessity and just make financial sense? Tell me in the comments down below. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends, and do drop that comment down below. It's greatly appreciated. And I'll see you again very soon on the next episode of Beards and Bangers. Goodbye.